not going to find perhaps a lot of people that are going to be excited about becoming vegan overnight. One thing that really resonates with a lot of people and that I have come to learn is that there's predation is one thing, and predation is something that you may or may not accept. I tend to, I would prefer not to prey on anybody, but I tend to think if you dropped me in the middle of a frozen tundra and it was 2 weeks and I was starving, I probably would try to kill somebody and eat them if I had to. Not really excited about it, but whatever we can decide about this, surely slavery and that concept, that dominant culture concept of ownership, that the earth, the animals, the plants, the water, the woods were put here for people. Surely this is something we can make some progress on, regardless of the cultural group that we're speaking to. Why do you own so-and-so? By what authority? And again, some people will resort to saying, well, I was raised, the Bible says, and okay, then you can talk to them a little bit about self-consistency maybe. I just find it really hard to be persuasive when I'm trying to tell somebody that my ethics are right. My morality is right, yours is wrong. I think we're down to 1 minute, so do you have something you want to squeak in before we do the questions and answers?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, we would really appreciate any support that you can, give us in terms of helping us resist this. If you do have contact with legislators, policymakers, please tell them that you are a supporter of treaty rights and you want to see these treaties upheld. Just as a final point, both with the Wolf Group and Idle No More, we have a lot of potential allies in northern Minnesota, people within groups in the dominant culture, Water Legacy, and some other organizations that are seeing there's really no legal or policy tool that members of the dominant culture have to meaningfully protect the water, the woods, or the animals. However, we've got some tools with treaty rights. And many people are realizing that really in protecting northern Minnesota, treaty rights are the last stand. So your support in communicating to policymakers and others that you're a believer in upholding those treaty rights. As the White Earth Proclamation points out, the state government did not consult with the tribes, and when White Earth banned wolf hunting on the reservation, Irma, the tribal chair, got a call from the governor. And he leaned on those folks trying to get them to capitulate. So having the dominant culture communicate to policymakers that they're believers in respecting treaty rights and tribal interests would be very, very helpful for us. So, miigwech!
All right, so in this part, questions will be both for Lisa and Sandra and Reyna, so I'll just go by whoever I saw first. And I think it was here, so start.
Well, I would like to see you add in the United Nations scientific document that said worldwide veganism would save the planet, just because as time has progressed, that's been out since 2006, and I think it would be powerful for people to hear that from Ojibwe people. That's all I do. I'm Julie Durby with Defending Farm Animals. It's completely destroying the whole planet, and I think that there's a way Native Minnesotans can add a little bit more kick to our fight. We're losing. We've lost the battle, basically. And again, another thing I'd like to see you add in, I haven't been behind the wolf thing so much. Mostly I promote veganism in the metro, not so much in rural areas. But I don't know if you followed, like South Dakota had a ban on factory farming, and about 8 years ago on the Rosebud, there was a lot of protesting, and I think about 18 people were arrested there. And then the other thing I think, I'm just going to speak for a person I was involved with for a while, that was a Ojibwe that then died. She was hospitalized when we were at school here from diabetes. And I think there's you can really zero in as Ojibwe saying, this really, dairy has no place, and we need to do something. And I think that could be incorporated in just any kind of elbow you can get at animal ag, because there's too many dead people from dairy. And dead calves.
Yeah, I want to just say, I absolutely 100% believe in what you're saying. I think dairy products in particular, nobody has any business consuming them, regardless of the animal wealth, which is enough for me.
Right.
Yeah, I used to live on a dairy farm in southern Wisconsin, and that's what made a vegan of me. And it was a family farm. So, however, one of the things, and you know, you know, if we get, there are two issues that I personally really care about, Maingan and the trafficking. Duluth is a hub of human trafficking in our port, and the average age of entry is 12. So animal agriculture is going to be basically next, if we get some inroads on the trafficking in Maingan and get bent, I personally will go back and work more in animal agriculture. But one of the things that people, you know, one of the things that we really have a hard time getting across is the significance of this issue of what happens to Maingan happens to the Anishinaabe. So as important as things like diabetes, I mean, it's very, very important. We have people torturing the brother of the Anishinaabe. We have people, so, you know, in terms of speaking from, you know, that particular community's perspective in terms of priorities, and I think that it's really, one of the things I really wanted to get across is just how meaningful that is, this wolf hunt is to the Anishinaabe people. So I don't, you know, I think, you know, I think animal agriculture is a very important issue. I don't know that there's gonna be a lot of grassroots oomph that we can get while we're dealing with some of these other.
I mean, you can throw in one statistic, like 15 million kids are dying in Asia and Africa every year, and that's to do with animal agriculture. There's a way to just put about a 5-liner in that just gives animal ag a kick in the butt, which it needs. It pretty much steers it.
Well, actually, cows and livestock were never in the Anishinaabe Ojibwe diet a long time ago, prior to European settlement. They're the ones that brought them over.
Cows brought
Yeah.
the Europeans brought their cows here.
Yep, they brought them over too.
But another example is that people do not know about this, but, you know, just Minnesota and Iowa are shipping, when people are told to eat local and from Minnesota, we are shipping by refrigeration to China, you know, maybe 60 million pig carcasses. It doesn't make any sense. While Africa starts, that's the biggest racism issue, is millions of kids and adults starving to death while we ship pork to China by refrigeration. And that's the biggest environmental, that's what is destroying the planet, is the transportation of the meat.